All right. It is Monday, a very eventful Monday here in the View family.
Yes.
And we are here behind the table with Sunny Hostin.
Yes, hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I've had this vocal cord polyp situation
Yes,
going on.
I read something on one of the internets where they were saying, like, Brian keeps skipping Sunny. And I'm like, I'm letting her rest her voice, people. Come on.
I know. My doctor is great, and he is telling me that I will have to have surgery.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to do it when we're on hiatus so
Okay.
that when I come back, I don't sound like this. But I've been going to vocal therapy, and I think it's been pretty good. I'm on vocal rest 22 hours a day, so I speak only when I'm here, basically, which Manny is really excited about.
I mean, I got to say, as a husband, there's something to this. No, it's...
very excited. But if you notice, if the vocal therapy does work because I'm speaking in an octave that I'm not used to speaking in, and I'm speaking from my diaphragm, my normal voice sounds a little more like this.
Well, I was going to say, because
So it's a
on
little
camera,
bit
you're really
different.
like kind of bringing it up a little bit. So the fact that even
Yes.
people are noticing it off camera, you feel more strained when we're talking.
Yes, I'm working very hard on camera and on this podcast to breathe in and not allow my vocal cords, the polyps, to bang against each other.
Well,
and apparently they bang against each other like hundreds of times
Oh.
for one word.
I'm sincerely sorry you have to go through this, but I will say on the nice part, when you're complaining to me, I can just say, rest your voice. It's okay.
Manny says, don't talk,
Yeah.
just listen.
Just listen. Oh, I
Do you
like
remember that song?
Yes, I like that a lot.
Jodeci.
It's your first time in the new studio. What do you think?
I really like it. It feels like a podcast studio.
All right, we're doing
The
it now.
other
Yeah.
room felt like an extension of the table, and this is supposed to be behind the
We're
table.
behind the table. Yes,
so
exactly.
It's like, I get it.
All right, so let's talk about what we've been talking about all day and all weekend, this shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner.
Yeah.
I was there. Do you have any questions for me? I mean,
I
it was...
did. I
yeah.
was texting you because I was at a play. I was at the Joe Turner out play.
Which I hear is
and
great.
It was fantastic. It's an August Wilson play. Taraji P. Henson is starring in it, as well as Cedric the Entertainer, who, by the way, is phenomenal in this. So that was, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but he was particularly really terrific. And I was there with the Black Illuminati, as I call them. I was sitting with Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington and Leslie Uggams and Felicia Rashad. It was really a who's who of Black Hollywood and Black theater. And I have my phone off because I think it's rude to have your phone on
As you should, yes.
during the theater. But the minute intermission happened, I think I turned it on at intermission, and I get messages from my mom. I was planning on going
Right.
at first, and I hadn't told my mom that I had decided not to go.
So she must have been so
she
scared.
was so scared and so panicked. And then I immediately thought of you. And I texted you. And then I also thought about Paul, our
Stage manager.
because I often hang out with Paul after the White House
Right, we went to the
Correspondents
after
Dinner.
parties with him
With
one
the
day,
after parties
a couple
because
times. Yeah.
Paul is the stage manager for the White House
Yeah.
Correspondents Dinner at the Hilton, and he is generally like cool as a cucumber, and he wasn't.
No, it was...
He was scared, and you sounded scared too.
It was scary. I'm not going to... I've never
Yeah.
been in a situation like that. Thank God.
Well,
And-
because when we were growing up, we didn't do these active shooter drills.
No, and it was, you mentioned your mom, and I had a very similar experience because
Yeah.
my mother was watching on C-SPAN because she was waiting to see if she could see me and see what the
Yes.
president would
Well,
say.
you
and
usually
all that
can
kind
see
of stuff.
us.
We've been on camera there before,
Yeah.
even me. And so when the shots went out and when the crashing
I can't
started,
believe you could hear the shots because that would have been on the second floor, and the ballroom is on the almost like a bunker. It's below ground, so I'm kind of surprised. That means
It was
that was a
loud.
shotgun.
Yeah.
That was
well,
a
I don't know. There were
some-
loud crashes
certain type of
that sounded,
gun.
and I don't have gun experience. I'm not someone who owns a gun.
have a
or,
little bit of it.
more than I do.
Yeah.
But it sounded clearly to me like gunshots, and I turned to the people. So people who ask,
Was
why,
it the boom?
Yeah, there was definitely
it
like a crashy kind of part to it too. So people did think like, well, maybe it was something being dropped or maybe it was something
Oh.
else. But it sounded to me very much, it rang out in a way that
rang out,
sounded like
and
a gunshot
several
to me.
times.
At least 3 or 4 times, and in succession. And I turned to the people and people were asking me like, well, why are you there?
Yeah.
And because as all the ABC News executives are invited to this, and I was sitting at a table with the executive producer of Good Morning America and the executive producer of World News Tonight, and some of the
celebrate
reporters.
the press,
the First Amendment,
the First Amendment and freedom of the press.
And it's an honor to be invited. And it's my third or fourth time going.
Yeah.
And so when this was going off, and I'm suddenly under the table, I pulled out my phone and I texted my mother, because that was the first thought I had is, she's watching C-SPAN. She's going to be terrified.
Yeah, she's going to be terrified.
And I just said, I'm okay. And that's, don't worry.
Yeah. The photo you sent me, I freaked out.
Yeah, with everybody on the ground.
With everybody like on the ground underneath the table. I also texted Lindsay Davis, who was a very dear friend of mine, and she was there. I texted Don Lemon, And what was interesting to me was reporters went into reporting mode.
I was in awe of it. So I looked around at the people I knew at the table, and we were all in the same position down there. But then I was sitting with some reporters, Pierre Thomas, and
I texted Pierre.
They sprung into action,
of course.
And it was really impressive. As impressive as the Secret Service in their way.
What journalists do.
They were reporting. They wanted to know what was happening. They were finding out.
Yes.
They were trying to communicate the outside. They were taping. They were going on right away. And it made me proud, honestly, to be be colleagues with these people.
It's a wonderful, wonderful institution. I was speaking to some college students recently, and I said the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It's just so important that we have a free press. And, it's unfortunate that this happened at what generally is a celebration of the freedom of press.
Right.
And there are usually scholarships given. There are, which is very, very important. Awards are given.
They were going to honor some of the reporters for their press with stories that the president didn't like very much, and they were going to do that in front of him too.
Yes. So it's unfortunate.
I was going to say, we had that conversation today about how many people in the public immediately jumped to staged or fake or something like that.
Well, I have to tell you, I got about 50 text messages from friends, from family members asking me if I thought it was staged, and I did not. And I immediately was like, "You're venturing into conspiracy theories,
right?
Okay, but I think it shows you the state of
where we are,
in this country with disinformation, misinformation, and it started way back with, Kellyanne Conway." With alternative facts. Alternative facts. And now we know that there are countries that are actually teaching lower school students, middle school students, high school students about the difference between fact and fiction. And that is terrifying to me, that with AI, with the onslaught of the disinformation and the misinformation and the alternative facts, that people truly don't believe what's in front of their own eyes.
Well, I have to say, for being in that room, there was nothing about it that felt staged or planned. It felt very chaotic and very scary, and watching the people around, and even
do their jobs.
Yeah. A section that I was in got immediately evacuated. Mm-hmm. Other people got locked down in the room because they said they were going to come back. So in retrospect, I think I was on the lucky side. They pushed us out the door.
Because imagine the fear. Yeah. Of just in shelter, being in shelter. It's nothing like what you went through, but I remember during 9/11, on 9/11, I was presenting a case to the grand jury, and marshals in flak jackets and guns ran into the grand jury and took the federal prosecutors out. I think they took the jurors out somewhere else into underground tunnels that I did not know existed. And because, the Federal Triangle was a target. And it's a terrifying thing to sort of be in a bunker waiting to see what happens. And I can only imagine what you felt.
Well, I was shaken. And in the end,
it's kind of
it was
traumatic.
Adrenaline and everything else. I walked out with people, one of whom was a big behind the table fan, and stopped me and told me
I don't believe that
this happened. I was walking out. A very nice woman, I can't remember her name, said, if there was one person I wanted to meet tonight, I was hoping it was you, Brian. And her husband, who was a journalist, rolled his eyes.
Don't think it's that.
And she was quoting
popular.
No, she was quoting things from the trip, from the podcast last week. It was great. And so if you're out there, thank you. And then I went to, I called my wife, who was very nonplussed about the whole thing, and Seemed fine.
Heather is my spirit animal.
I know. As she explained to me, she too had a stressful day at the dance competition, and I should get over it.
That's very stressful.
It is. No, it's very stressful. She was kidding, I'm sure. But I hung up the phone and got into an Uber that I later realized was not my car.
I heard you got into the wrong Uber.
I somehow ended
because you're working off of adrenaline.
I'm working off adrenaline. I'm texting you guys. I'm texting everybody. I look up and I'm on a highway leaving D.C., and I'm like, oh my God, where am I going?
It is very easy to leave D.C.
Apparently,
I lived there, so
I don't know the city.
It's so easy to get into Virginia.
I was in Alexandria, Virginia.
You can get into D.C., Virginia, and Maryland like in 5 minutes.
Well, 20 minutes out, I was out. And then I looked up and I'm like, I didn't call this car. I'm looking at the nav and it's got 6 more minutes to go. And I'm like, I'm just going to ride this out and get out. And I did, and called another Uber and got back to the hotel.
Oh my God.
But it was a strange evening.
It's a moment in history. You know, it's interesting because I was texting with Erin Haynes, who, longtime reporter, president of the National Association of Black Journalists, and she's also on the 19th with the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Fantastic writer. And she reminded me that as journalists, we always call the hotel the Hinckley Hilton.
Yeah.
Because that's where John Hinckley attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan and really injured James Brady. And so she said, you know, this it's such a historic place for a variety of reasons, some more infamous than others. And the fact that this happened there, she felt that there would be a lot of think pieces done, and a lot of people will write and compare the two, and something probably will happen. I feel that it's an inflection point, you know, in terms of, I thought the storming of the Capitol with guns was an inflection point. But now you've got journalists, you've got a cabinet, you know.
Most of the line of succession was in that room.
Most of the line of succession was in that room. If this doesn't change gun laws in this country, I
don't think it will, but I do
please
think...
don't say that, Brian.
I'm sorry.
I can't imagine it doesn't.
Well, compared to Sandy Hook and everything else, who knows? But the one thing the security, it did work. I want to say that. I mean, it did work. But the hotel, it's hard to explain. You've been there so many times, and you know, there are...
Yeah, I was looking back at pictures, you know, from like 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, the Obama one you went to, right?
Yeah,
or no, that was right before.
That was right
maybe
before.
The last one before before Trump came in.
Yeah, I think it was... I think I went back all the way to 2013.
Wow.
I was looking at my phone.
Well,
pictures.
There's all these pre-parties and things like that that you can access without a ticket to the event.
Yeah.
And then, and I think what really probably, the one thing that I could say is it would have made sense to me to have metal detectors entering the hotel.
Well, you see, that's what was interesting to me. I recall one year, you know, they usually deliver the tickets to your hotel room. Mm-hmm. And one year I walked up, and, you know, you can't even get dropped off near the hotel.
No.
There are sharpshooters on, and we didn't discuss this on the show, but there are sharpshooters on top of the Hilton, facing down. You can see them. There are Secret Service agents everywhere. There are marshals everywhere, Capitol Police everywhere. You have to walk about 2 blocks to get.
I walked in the pouring rain to get in.
Yeah, you have to walk.
There's no way to get there.
There's no way to get there by car. And I got there without my ticket, and they said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go back to your hotel and get your ticket. Mm-hmm. So I am surprised that you could even get in through the front door without a ticket this year.
I got in without a ticket. I picked up my ticket inside.
That is very unusual.
And I was able to, I had an invitation to the party that I showed them on my phone.
That didn't work in 20 whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think
That's
you know, again,
strange.
I had to show a ticket to get closer. I had to go through a metal detector to get into the ballroom.
But didn't you go through 2?
Only one. And
that
and
seems
you know,
different to me. Maybe I'm misremembering it.
It's possible. Listen, I feel confident that this person would never have gotten near the president. That being said,
yes, never.
That being said,
too many people there.
You shouldn't, in my opinion, like when you know this event's coming, stop everybody at the door.
And also, you've got to really do a deep dive into the people that book rooms.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that would have come up for this guy.
Before the event.
I don't know. All right, well, that's the other thing. And then, of course, what we didn't get into yet, and I'm sure we will, was this has increased calls for the ballroom. That's the, very quickly, it was kind of and I think this is also part of the reason people jump to it's staged, it's a thing, because almost in unison, the right posted, and people made memes of this. You can see them of like 50 different prominent MAGA-friendly accounts posting, this is why we need the ballroom. Don't want to hear anything about why we shouldn't have the ballroom.
What don't they understand about the fact that this is not a White House event?
Right.
This is a press event for journalists. It's the White House Correspondents Association's event. The president and cabinet officials and politicians are guests. It's a celebration of the freedom of the press, and there needs to be a separation between the press and those that they cover.
Well, sure. And then also, let's not pretend the president doesn't go to other events. I mean, he goes to CPAC most years. He goes to the Super Bowl. He goes to... So the security can't be... Every event won't be in this ballroom if it's even if it comes through.
It doesn't make any sense. And it really doesn't make sense on the heels of what was a tragic, dangerous event to basically have a commercial about a ballroom. I think that was
strange,
in such poor taste.
And again, the in unison way it happens, and this does. I think there's a coordination between political talking points and things like that.
I think it's gross.
Yeah. Let's talk about something happier.
Yes.
Paloma. Last weekend, you celebrated her following in your footsteps and becoming an AKA. This is a big deal. Tell us about it and what it meant to you.
It is a big deal, but it's really hard to explain to a lot of people.
To the outside.
Joy Behar always tells me, well, the sorority that I pledged in college has the same colors.
Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing.
It's just not the same thing. You know, historically, African Americans were not allowed to join fraternities and sororities. And so because of that, my sorority was founded in 1908, right? At a time where there was segregation at Howard University by 20 women that had the foresight to know that we needed community because we were being excluded and not included in other organizations. Now, what's interesting about our organization is it is predominantly African American, but we have all members. So we have Latina members and we have Hispanic members. We have white members. We have Asian sorors. So it's a very inclusive organization, but it is historically an African American sorority that was founded in 1908, and we have 9 of those fraternities and sororities, and my husband is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, which was founded in 1911. So we're talking about organizations. Mine has over 360,000 members worldwide, some of which are like the first Black astronaut, female astronaut, Mae Jemison, Patti LaBelle, Coretta Scott King, Kamala Harris, Rosa Parks. These are the likes of the people that join. So it's not easy to join. Mm-hmm. It's a process. And my daughter is a legacy. And I got to pin her during our secret ceremony. And she didn't know, you'd never know who's in the room during the ceremony because it's dark and it's special and private and serious. It's a serious matter. And then they ask the initiates to turn around for the people that are pinning them. And you generally think it's someone in the graduate chapter that's supervising. And she turned around and saw me holding my pin from 34 years ago.
That's so sweet.
And she started bawling.
Oh,
she was like,
I bet you did too.
And then she messed me up. I was great. Mm-hmm. I had my makeup on and my hair done for all the pictures. And so I started crying and I pinned her and we held each other. And my other sorority sisters, we called each other sorors. My sorors had told me what it would feel like. And Gabriel had been initiated into Kappa Alpha Psi last month. So Manny explained to me that it was one of his proudest moments. And I was like, that is weird, but it was. I felt something that I didn't expect to feel.
I'll say I'm embarrassed to say this was a complete blind spot for me before I started working with you.
I know.
I had no idea until I started hearing ski-weaves from the audience, and I've learned what an important and large part of the culture it is.
It's a huge part of African American culture, and it's a service organization. Mm-hmm. So we organize in politics, we organize in churches, we do food drives, we give scholarships, college scholarships. We do food banks.
There's not a week that goes by without people in the audience
Yes.
who represent your sorority or
it's a huge
guests on
huge-
the show, and
it's an international organization. We have chapters in Ghana, in the UK. We have chapters all over the world. Liberia was where one of our first chapters was founded. So that just goes to show you how just important it is and big. And not everyone gets to become a member.
Well,
So,
I'm very proud of
I'm so proud of her. I was
Paloma and happy for you.
out of my mind. And so I posted a lot, which I generally don't do because Paloma doesn't like to post a lot. But then she posted something. So,
There you go. So she's proud too.
I have permission. And we also decorate their rooms with a lot of AKA stuff. So Summer, our producer, was saying she thought I had hired a professional to do it. But it was my friend Floyd that I always talk about. Floyd was there. And about 20 people traveled to
That's
Ithaca,
amazing.
New York for it. All of my parents were there. I mean, it's that big of a deal. It's so Floyd and Talia and Tristan, his two twins, pair of twins rather, Set, and his wife came and decorated Paloma's room while I was pinning her for the ceremony to surprise her.
Amazing. All right. Well, before we go,
Big deal.
It's a big deal. Congratulations
It's a
again.
serious matter, as we say.
Before we go, I heard that you went to see the taping of our friend Sherri Shepherd's last show.
I did.
It hasn't aired yet. It's going to air.
It's going to air, I think, in
Tell me what that
May
was
or
like.
June. It was wonderful. You know, Star Jones organized that. Star Jones reached out to a huge group of. Star Jones is also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So she reached out to some sorority sisters, including Vanessa Bell Calloway, and she reached out to Malak Compton Rock, Chris Rock's ex-wife, Kathy Chenault, who was married to the CEO of American Express, first Black CEO of Amex, just about 30 of us. And she said, let's support our girl.
Absolutely.
Let's support our girl. And so we all showed up, and she was shocked. Kim Whitley was there, so many people. Susan Taylor, the former editor-in-chief of Essence, and she started crying. I mean, I think she was shocked but we wanted to show her that we loved her, that she's a vanguard, that she's, important.
Absolutely.
And that the next... And onward.
Yeah, and that show will not be forgotten. It's a real accomplishment. It is very, very hard to do a show like she did with comedy. Alone. It is really, there's very few people that can do it. And that show was successful and impactful.
It was impactful, and she brought joy.
Yes.
They have a DJ and a warm-up person, and it felt very joyful at a time when I think we needed it.
And that's what she set out to do, and she should be very proud of it.
And she did it. And we had an after party afterwards, and she hoped that she did bring joy. And I think people are going to miss her.
Oh, I think so too. I'm sorry to see her go. And hopefully we'll get to have her at our table from time to time.
Yes, I would love that.
She's one of the best.
I would love that.
And we got our big season 30 next year. So
I know.
There'll be opportunities for sure.
Believe that? 30 years?
No, I can't.
Brian?
I can't. You and I for 10 of them.
10 of them.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Sonny. Tomorrow,
Thank you.
I'll be back with Alyssa.
Yes.
And I'll see you all then. And we got a good show on live tomorrow, too. So we'll see you there. Thank you.